1 second. Yep.
Okay. Hello to all our listeners. My name is Amanda Dounis and I'm from the Positive Thinking Clinic. And I'm online with another expert today, Mirela Simic. Now, together, Mirela and I will discuss a little bit about psychotherapy, nutrition, and hopefully some exercise, and how it can benefit mental wellness, emotional wellness, and mental health overall. So it's only going to be a 10-15 minute video, and we hope that you find this very useful. Mirela, can you introduce yourself to everybody, please?
Hi guys, my name is Mirela. I'm owner of Mela's Nutrition and Training. It's a private beauty-based studio in St. Susie, where I have a little office set up as well, where I do nutritional consultations as well.
Thank you, Mirela. And if anyone was to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
They can jump on my website, which is www.melasnt.com.au, or they can just phone me on 041 044 7173.
Very good. Thank you for that, Mirela. And you offer not only face-to-face, but online sessions as well when it comes to nutrition?
Depending on what clients want to achieve. So if I'm working with someone who wants to achieve weight loss, then I do need to see them face-to-face, as I do take measurements and body scans. But if I'm working with someone who has chronic health conditions, who wants to better manage their mood or any other conditions, then it can be done, online.
That's really great for everybody to know. And so the reason why I thought it'd be a great idea for you and I to get online again so that we can discuss a topic that's quite useful for most of the general public, to be quite honest. You see, as a psychotherapist, a lot of my clients who come in for stress. And I know holistically that even though I conduct a number of different modalities in my psychotherapy practice, so that I can assist clients to find avenues to make changes to their lifestyle and even their cognitive thinking to improve their stress levels. It's also really important that professionals find and network with other professionals and experts, very qualified people who can actually help clients, because I believe that it's a team effort quite often. And so just a definition of stress, and I know both you and I are very well aware of what stress is, but for the general public, it's an emotional and physical response to situations which are demanding. And so when experiencing stress, you may feel worry, you may feel overwhelmed, have a headache, a disruption in sleep, shortness of breath, and lots more. So clients often come in and they may tell you specifically what their biggest stress is right now. And the reason why it's important to say what is your biggest stress right now is because otherwise they may come in with 10 or 20 different stresses and we can't work on everything at the one time. So breaking everything up becomes an easier task for not only ourselves, but them as well, to work on one thing at a time, and sometimes in parallel, in conjunction with each other. And so I'd like to ask you, Mirela, what's your take nutritionally on how clients can make an improvement to their emotional mental wellness?
Okay. Well, firstly, I'd like to explain that our mood is balanced by our neurotransmitters, which are mainly produced in our brain and some of it in our gut. So the best way to balance stress and anxiety and to improve your mood is by balancing those neurotransmitter levels. So nutrition plays a large role, because what happens is when there are certain nutritional deficiencies, we wouldn't have enough raw materials for the production of all the chemicals that are needed in our body. So in the terms of nutrition, what I would always say, look, the biggest nutrients needed to stabilize the mood and to improve, whether it is depression, anxiety, stress levels, would be, omega-3 fats, good fats, would be amino acids, which are found in protein, but also, certain vitamins and minerals as well. So it's not just one thing from nutritional point that makes a difference. It's a combination of lots of different nutrients that come in and make a biggest difference in a person's life.
And how soon do you feel somebody can feel that effect, that change or an improvement in their mood, for example?
Oh, okay, that was a good question. It depends on a person. So if we're talking about someone who is just lightly stressed and maybe a little bit overwhelmed, once when they start, exercising more, eating a bit better, and managing the stress levels, they can start seeing improvements from day one. If we are talking about a person that is having more severe effects and that is suffering more from depression, or any other mental health conditions, then we are looking probably, weeks. It take weeks to start seeing improvements. And this is why, unfortunately for some people, they may give up before they actually start seeing benefits.
So I wonder, that's a really good point, and I agree with you there. Everybody wants the quick fix and they want to feel better as soon as possible. And so what I do, for example, is whilst repairing themselves, if repair is the right word, when we feed ourselves good nutrition and allow, let's say, certain toxins or other habits that we used to do in our lives, that we're cleaning up our system. So whilst the transition is taking place, I think some psychotherapy might be useful during this time to help keep them on track, to help keep them focused. And I'm not sure about you if you do this, but I have found that if I give my clients a mood food diary to do for even for 3 days, I then discover our pattern, but more importantly, so do they. They only when it's written on paper or when they actually write things down do they say, I never knew that I had a low mood after I ate certain types of foods, or I never knew that I was feeling, frustrated and tired at this time of the afternoon until I actually wrote it down. So do you agree that there's different, well, that mood does follow food and there's different times of the day that people can correct their nutrition to help them have a bit of a better day?
Um, Absolutely, and that's actually, every client that I've worked with nutrition, I do ask them to log all the food in for me, which interfaces with my software so I can see and analyze further what they've eaten from a nutritional point. But once when I tell them, look, please, do this for me for 1 week only, and pay attention. I said, pay attention to your energy levels, pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to your mood, pay attention to your anger or hangry, if you're feeling hangry. Pay attention to pretty much everything, your digestion, if you're feeling bloated, and write it all down for me so that in the next session when you come, we're going to discuss where it is absolutely right, where we do find what really works, so you fine tune it more for our clients. And the reason why I actually tell that to the clients is because once when they start paying attention, they become more aware of it. And it is like you said it, some people are not quite aware of the effects that food has on them, but once when you bring it to their attention, then they realize, oh, okay, this is something I need to change. And it's a lot easier to work with them then once when they've recognized it.
Yeah, it's giving them a sense of accountability and their own responsibility. So they feel more empowered to say, I've noticed something and yes, I want to do something, rather than the professional is telling me I have to do that. And so it's even though the professional is giving great, wonderful guidance, sometimes the individual really has to realize that, hey, what I'm doing is actually a step in the right direction, and they're getting to know a lot more about themselves. Like some people don't realize that they are lacking certain nutrition or don't know where to get energy from a good, healthy source, or how to eat well for stress or to relax. And so I think it's all a big learning curve, and it's really good that your clients are have the opportunity to always reach out to you, and even to me, to ask, okay, I'm stuck here. What do you think I should do? And so social support, I think, becomes really important. You'll be one support, for example, nutritionally and even symptomatically, whereas you may be able to answer some questions for them or give them some new ideas. Sometimes when clients are going through some stress, they need to have another support, for example, somebody like a friend to talk to, motivate with, or just discuss their daily stresses with them, or even other techniques that I may use here as well, like some reframing or some positive planning, or some relaxation techniques like a positive guided visualization, or even recommending a good book. And even if it's a book on alleviating stress or learning a little bit about nutrition and wellness, and if it's not a big fat book and it's more like, oh, just read a page every so often, at least they're getting into a habit of exposing themselves to new literature, which is like also a new habit, as well as new foods that you may recommend, or sometimes a nice relaxing app that we can access on our telephones. So I think if there's a number of things that they can reach out to at different times of the day or on different days, it can support their short-term and long-term goal. Do you agree with that?
I do, and it's important to understand, different things also work for different people as well. Um, One thing I agree the most on is the support. So if I'm finding it like with some clients, if they don't really have a good support, whether it is from their spouses or their friends, they're going to be really struggling. And for them, it's going to be very hard to achieve any change in their life. Whilst, the ones that have a good support group of friends, of the family, they tend to just breeze through the things. Um, to say also the other thing is I find it that people react a lot better when you actually educate them and you explain them, this is what I need you to do, but this is why I need you to do this, versus me just printing out paper saying, yeah, just do this, off you go. That makes the biggest difference as well. And it's like you say, you know what, we live in the times now where we have all these tools available to us, and it's actually easier than ever. We have, all these different apps, we have all these different modalities, different books. There's lots of information out there as well that clients can go to and get the help with as well.
I totally agree, and that's very well said, Mirela. And one thing I've also noticed, and let this be a message out there as well, that whilst some people who are stuck tend to think globally, and when we or any of their supports help them to make some specific tasks or goals or steps, then it breaks it down into doable chunks. And so what I'm getting at also is that, speaking of supports, some people may say, oh, yeah, I've got good family. Yeah, I do have good friends. But that's not really meaning you have good support. I've noticed along the way, I get clients to do a list of 2 to 4 supports. But, okay, their name, but then how can they help? Because one person can help because they're a real good listener. The other person can help because they're the person that they will go for a walk with every night. So there's a bit of exercise. The other person will help because they like to buy groceries together and they'll start. So it's really nice to be more specific so that they can say, okay, I'm feeling quite down now. I need to go for a walk. I ring that person. So it's like they have a plan in place. And so there you go. Like you just said, we are in a time where we have access to things, whether it's actual people or the internet with research or apps that we can have on our phones just to help us unwind for 5 minutes. So I think this has been a great conversation for our listeners who may be feeling stuck or wondering what they can do when it comes to stress, and how we can feed ourselves nutritionally, feed ourselves a nice, healthy action plan. Is there anything else you'd like the listeners to know, Mirela?
Well, the other thing I would also suggest is, what you just said, have different friends for different things, is an absolutely amazing idea as well. But also sometimes when that is not enough, and this is where professionals like us come as well, because we hold them accountable. We, when they have booked appointments, they're more likely to be held accountable as well for what they do until certain things become their habits as well. So I would also suggest, to the people that have been trying by themselves for the long time, but they're really struggling to see any difference, get in touch, with people that you think might help you. There's, hypnotherapy, counseling, nutrition, exercise. There is lots of things out there today that can help. So it's just finding out what really works for each person.
Absolutely. And for me to conclude, I'd like to also bring to everybody's attention that life balance is really important for stress. Career, family, friends, fun, even spirituality or study and education, free time, relationships, socializing, exercise, sleep, absolutely everything and more that you've mentioned and anything we can think of can contribute to increasing and decreasing and managing stress. So if anything has resonated with anybody and they'd like to get in contact with me or Mirela, my name is Amanda Dounis. I'm from the Positive Thinking Clinic. You can email me on amanda@positivethinkingclinic.com.au if you have any questions. Or Mirela, can you let everybody know again at the end now how they can get in contact with you?
So one more time, my name is Mirela. I'm from Mela's Nutrition and Training. You can just jump on my website at www.melasnt.com.au or just give me a call on 041 044 7173 and we can have a little chat.
Mirela, thank you so much for your time today. Your information is always so important just to spread out there, and I'm very, very grateful.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.